us.
Thank you very much, Natasha.
Evelina, I know it's graphic, but describe to us what is happening to women and girls in the Tigray region of Ethiopia.
Sure. Of course, recent months have seen a lot of evidence coming from the region, shedding light on the dire situation of Tigrayans in Ethiopia. And of course, we've seen evidence of mass killings. We've seen evidence of torture, abductions, and many other atrocities. But of course, this evidence was followed also by evidence of the use of rape and sexual violence against Tigrayan women. And at the end of January 2021, we've seen evidence from the UN Special Representative on sexual violence in the conflict, Pramila Patten, reporting on the serious allegations of sexual violence in Tigray, including a high number of alleged rapes in the capital of Mekelle. But subsequently, of course, the more and more evidence emerged. And of course, this brings us to this new report produced by Amnesty International and published only a few days ago that adds to the evidence. It concludes that sexual violence in the context of the conflict has been accompanied by a shocking level of brutality, including beatings, death threats, and ethnic slurs. And it is often accompanied by threats and by additional acts of physical and psychological torture. And as one of the Tigrayan women who testified reported, they raped me one after the other. I don't know if they realized I was pregnant. I don't know if they realized I was a person. Some of the abused women and girls were held in sexual slavery for several weeks. And as Amnesty International concludes, the patterns of sexual violence emerging from survivors indicate that the violations have been a part of a strategy to terrorize, degrade, and humiliate both the victims and the ethnic group. And of course, we already mentioned that of course, there are so many perpetrators involved in the atrocities. And it's very important to emphasize that Amnesty International classified the atrocities as crimes against humanity or war crimes. But we cannot forget that these atrocities can also amount to genocide. There could be genocidal methods to bring about the destruction of the community. So this is yet another element that needs to be...
Absolutely, and forgive me for jumping in, but you did mention this issue of genocide and ethnic cleansing to a certain degree, I believe. So I just want to quote something that the Prime Minister of Ethiopia has mentioned, which is referencing the Tigray people as a cancer and wanting them wiped out. So as succinctly as you possibly can, explain to us what is this tension between the Amharans and the larger Ethiopian population and the Tigray, why this battle is taking place?
Of course, this has been an ongoing issue, and unfortunately, as you mentioned correctly, the Tigrayan people are being portrayed as cancer, as something that needs to be destroyed. And unfortunately, this is a narrative that has been used before genocides took place. So this narrative is very concerning, and a number of researchers and people observing the situation raise this as a very important element and something that we should watch and monitor and of course act upon. But just wanted to also mention, of course, we know that the atrocities and the recent conflict started in November last year, but ultimately, even before, we've seen elements and we've seen indicators that something bad is going to happen and mass atrocities are going to happen. And among others, in August 2020, Genocide Watch issued a genocide warning for Ethiopia because of the government's inaction to stop ethnically motivated violence between Oromo, Amhara, Tigrayan, and other communities. And also in October 2020, Simon Scott Center for the Prevention of Genocide warned also about the high risk of further atrocities. So this is an ongoing issue. This is nothing new. So we should be able, we as the international community, we should be able to react, to address these atrocities. However, we've seen inaction, and that's the reason we are in this place right now, seeing those atrocities happening and hearing yet another call towards violence, called to destroy the communities, the Tigrayans in Ethiopia.
You've mentioned the international community, so let me talk to you about that. And it's very odd, you know, speaking to you on a day where the world is talking about Haiti and that tragic earthquake that's taken place that's probably stolen many, many lives, and the horrifying situation we're seeing unfold in Afghanistan. Nobody, aside from us right now, is talking about what's happening in Ethiopia. Why? Why is the world not paying attention to Ethiopia?
Unfortunately, this is something that we observed in relation to a number of African countries where mass atrocities are happening today. Another example is Nigeria. And again, atrocities are happening on a regular basis. Killings are happening on a daily basis. Unfortunately, there is no enough attention on those countries. So we need to bring those important stories to the surface. And you've been reporting on those important topics on a regular basis. And of course, everyone working on the topic is very grateful. But unfortunately, not many reporters are engaged on those topics. So we need more attention. We need more journalists reporting on those important topics, shedding light on what is happening in countries such as Ethiopia, to the people as people of Tigray, but also in Nigeria and other countries. We cannot forget about those situations.
I want to return to the situation about the women, which was our entry point into this conversation. Is any sort of support or aid or any relief coming to them if women's bodies are being used as part of the battleground to engage in this war?
Yes, there is some assistance that is being provided to the women and also to the people in Tigray. But unfortunately, as we know, humanitarian access to Tigray is very much limited and blocked on a number of occasions. And also because of the internet shutdowns that occur in the region, we also don't necessarily have the first-hand information on a regular basis to know what is happening in the region and how the situation is deteriorating. And the UN promised to do an investigation in the region. We've seen also a number of countries sending individuals to assess the situation, to the severity of the situation. However, this is not enough. We need more assistance to the communities there, and especially women and girls who are subjected to rape and sexual violence. They will need a lot of assistance that goes beyond just food and nutrition. They will need assistance to deal with the physical and mental consequences of this rape and sexual violence that they were subjected to.
Evelina, thank you so much for covering this difficult topic for us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Natasha.
Evelina Ochab is the co-founder of the Coalition for Genocide Response. She's joining us from